Dexter Southfield Middle School Grammar. Today we are talking about pronoun case and clarity, part 1. And some quick review for you here. A pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun or another pronoun. And there are 3 cases. Now, case is the form a noun or pronoun takes to show its relationship to other words. The 3 cases are nominative, objective, and possessive. We use the nominative case for the subject or the predicate nominative. We use the objective case for all objects, direct object, indirect object, object of the preposition. And for the possessive, that's used for ownership. And here's a chart to review each of these, and this is review for most of you, so there's no need to copy down the whole thing unless you feel like anything you see here is confusing. So this chapter is all about some common mistakes and trying to avoid them. So I've identified 10 different pronoun case and clarity issues that we will go through today. Being that this is part 1 of the video, we will only do issues numbers 1 through 5. Issue number 1, the subject should be in the nominative. And this seems obvious, but there are some common mistakes here. Look at this sentence. Kevin and me are heading to the mall, or Kevin and I are heading to the mall. In this case, we have here is a compound subject. So the first subject is Kevin, and the other subject is going to be whatever we choose here. Are heading is your verb phrase, and this is the present participle. And then to the mall is a prep phrase, with mall being the object of the preposition. So with all this being said, what do we do about our choice here? Well, me is the objective and I is the nominative. So it's going to be Kevin and I are heading to the mall. And the reason why it sounds awkward in this case is because we have this plural verb here. And we think to ourselves, okay, this doesn't sound right. And so maybe we try to compensate it by doing 2 wrongs by choosing me. Definitely incorrect. The correct answer here is I. Issue 2, the predicate nominative should be in the nominative. For example, the driver of the bus is he, or the driver of the bus is him. So perhaps we're tempted to say the answer here is him because that word comes towards the end of the sentence, and the objective form often does come at the end of the sentence because that's where objects go. But in reality, what we have here is a predicate nominative because it comes after is, which is a linking verb, and the correct answer is he. The driver of the bus is he. The best person for the job is certainly not me, or certainly not I. Okay, again, same linking verb here, is. So this is the predicate nominative, and we would go with I. What talented athletes are them, or are they? Well, again, this is, again, a linking verb are, so we would actually say they. So here are the 3 answers. Issue 3, the object of the preposition should be in the objective case, which, when you think about it, of course, makes sense. It's called the object of the preposition, so certainly it should be in the objective case. The decision is between George and I, or the decision is between George and me. Well, perhaps it sounds nice to say I here, but alas, no. It's me. Me is the objective form. Then stand between he and I, or stand between him and me. Here is your preposition. Same preposition being used twice here just to prove a point. So again, we want the objective form. It would be stand between him and me. Still confused? Then think about this very simple sentence. This apple is for I, or this apple is for me. I don't think you would hesitate at all. You would say that it's me. Clearly, you would never say this apple is for I, because this is a prepositional phrase, and this is your object of the preposition. This is a prepositional phrase. So if the answer here is going to be me, it's going to have to be me in both these other ones as well. Okay, issue number 4 may be one of the most confusing. It's the decision about when to use who compared to when to use whom. Here is the rule you have to remember. Who is in the nominative and whom is the objective. So you have to look very carefully at the sentence to determine how it's being used. Example 1, Mr. Ross is the general whom was appointed Secretary of State. Mr. Ross is the general is a clause by itself. This is an independent clause. Who or whom was appointed Secretary of State is a subordinate clause. And all clauses have a subject and a predicate. In this case, clearly one of those words will be chosen as the subject of that clause. So if it's going to be the subject, it has to be the nominative. Therefore, the answer here is who. Compare that to the second example. Give the device to Peter, who or whom you met at the airport. Give the device to Peter, again, an independent clause. Who or whom you met at the airport is a subordinate clause. So we have to figure out the role of these words in the subordinate clause. So let's look very carefully. Get rid of all this stuff to make sure we're looking at this carefully. What is the subject of this subordinate clause? Well, it's not going to be one of those two words. It's clearly going to be you. The verb is met at the airport is a prep phrase. So if I was to reorder this sentence, it would be, or this clause, I should say, it would be you met who or whom at the airport. Well, in this case, it makes it a bit more. So look at it this way. Subject, you, verb, met. Figure this out in a second. At the airport. You met who? You met whom? What is the role of this word? Well, it's going to be the direct object. And if it's the direct object, then I have to remember this rule right here. I have to use the objective form. So therefore, it must be whom. And for the last issue of part 1 of this series, we look at inconsistent appositives. If a pronoun is used as an appositive, it takes the same case as the word to which it refers. So let's take a look at this first example. The finalists, he and I, or is it him and me, waved to the crowd. Well, let's take a look at this very carefully. We've got a subject here and a verb here. And I think when we're talking about the finalists, this is the choice we have to make. This is the appositive that goes back to the subject. So which one is the nominative case and which one's the objective case? This is clearly the nominative and this is clearly the objective. So the answer here is he and I. And if you think about it, you would never say, me wave to the crowd. And in the second example, the director introduced the new members of the team, comma, Jake and I. Or is it Jake and me? So what is this appositive linking us to? Let's take a look. I think it's the new member. So of the team is a prep phrase. Get this, subject is the director, the verb is introduced. The new members is the direct object. So I believe we're talking about the members here. The members are Jake and I, or the members are Jake and me. So if this is a direct object, I need to use the objective form. And the objective form, I have to make a decision here between me and I. The objective form is me, so the answer here is Jake and me. That brings us to the end of part 1. For reflection, where in this video did you see the most common mistake that you personally make?